All right, welcome back. So the last video, we kind of went over all of the different chambers of the heart. We also talked a little bit about the valves. So again, this valve on this side is going to be the tricuspid valve. This side over here is going to be the bicuspid valve. The bicuspid valves are also known as the mitral valves. So here's how the valves are actually going to work. So blood that's returning to the atria is going to so here's the atria. This is the right atrium there. So basically, as blood goes into that right atrium, it's going to put pressure along this part of the valve. The AV valves are going to be then forced open. Then as you have the ventricles that fill up with blood, they are going to hang limply into so these AV valves are just going to be relaxed. As the atria contract, it's going to force these semilunar valves then open. And then the tricuspid or the AV valves are then going to shut again. So they're going to work in opposite of each other, kind of like we talked about last video. So in the same with our ventricles here, as our ventricles contract, they're going to force that blood onto the AV valve flaps. The AV valve will then close there. You'll see it close, which then you have the chordae tendineae that are going to pull, that'll prevent backflow. If these didn't pull very tight, blood would be able to trickle back here, and you'd get some sort of murmur or something that would you'd be able to hear. So here's an example of those flaps being closed. So when those are closed, then in this case, your pulmonary semilunar valve would then be open. So we have a couple of different types of circulation. The first one is called systemic circulation. Systemic circulation occurs when blood flows from the left side of the heart through the body to the tissues and back to the right side of the heart. So systemic circulation is going to be shown in red, whereas pulmonary circulation is really just blood flow from the right side of the heart to the lungs, basically. So we're going to usually show those in blue. So red is supposed to signify that it's oxygenated, whereas blue is to signify that it is deoxygenated. So basically, you have your systemic circulation that's going, I guess I shouldn't have started there. Starting at it starts at your lungs there, goes into your left atrium, left ventricle, and then through all of the systemic capillaries. Then it turns into pulmonary circulation as it's going back to your heart, going into your lungs to then get reoxygenated. So the major heart vessels, you have the aorta, which leaves the left ventricle, and then you have your pulmonary arteries. Then you have your major veins. You have your superior and your inferior vena cava or vena cava. They enter at the right atrium. And then your pulmonary veins, there are 4 of them. And here is probably, I would say, the most important part of this video. So the blood flow through the heart. So you start with pulmonary circulation. Then you get into the superior, I guess I should name this number 2, superior and inferior vena cava. Okay, then we go into the right atrium through the tricuspid valve. Then we get to the right ventricle. Then from the right ventricle, we go up through the pulmonary semilunar valve. Then we get to the pulmonary trunk, which is number 7 here. And then we break off into the pulmonary arteries. So you have 2 pulmonary arteries over here and 2 pulmonary arteries over here. These, I always think my lungs look like butterflies, but they're my lungs. So then we go into the lungs. So we'll say that that's number 9. Notice that everything from the lungs above is going to all be in blue. This means that it is pulmonary circulation. Okay, then once we get to the lungs, this purpley color means that we are having a mix of blood there. So basically, step 9 is we're going into the lungs to pick up oxygen and get rid of our carbon dioxide. Then we go back into the heart via the pulmonary veins. So you have 4 of those as well. So those are number 10. You have them on the right and the left side. Those pulmonary veins are going to dump into the left atrium. They're going to go through the bicuspid or through the mitral valve to the left ventricle, which is number 13. And then they're going to go up through, here I'll circle it for you, the aortic semilunar valve, which is number 14. And then you can't see it because it's cut out, but this would go up here to the aorta. All of this is red because it is systemic circulation. All right, well, that wraps up our anatomy of the heart, and I hope you found that helpful.